Jai Shri Ram. This is my personal mission statement. Promoting Sanatana Dharma vigorously. This would require constant study and mulling over the deeper, profound meanings and then coming out with our own exegesis. Exegesis. Exegesis or hermeneutics means interpretation of scriptural passages. So one who does that is an exegete, Exegete. All of us are eminently competent and capable of doing that, because by virtue of being born as a Hindu, you would have in several earlier janmas read all these books. That is why you are born. You were born as a Hindu now. So many illiterate Hindus or uneducated ones have actually internalized the Bhagavad Gita over several earlier janmas. This is my firm conviction. So if you meet a village elder or a villager, you will find that he is actually personifying the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. He will be very humble. He will be working constantly. He does not have any ego problem, no ego hassles. He does not expect you to honor him. Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. He does not envy you also. So you will find that this humble, simple, poor, illiterate villager actually epitomizes the entire philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. That is why I have come to the conclusion that all Hindus, especially those in the villages who are illiterate and uneducated according to our current modern day standards, are actually the highest sant. They are the sant. The Christian word saint has a negative connotation, because Christian saints were all people who were hell bent on proselytizing, conducting inquisitions, torturing and killing, holy wars, crusade. So that the word saint carries a negative connotation. That's why I hate using that word saint. Sant. Hindu sants are rishis, maharshis and avadhutas, and we have so many terms. So please stop using this silly Christian term sant. So promoting Sanatana Dharma vigorously. When I use the word vigorously, what I mean is due diligence, Purva Paksha, and studying of Islam, Christianity, communism and other anti-Hindu forces, so that we are in a position to nullify their attacks and also educate the younger generation or even the older generations which have unfortunately got mentally colonized, and the more educated, more colonized. Just because they have a few dollars, they think they already know everything. That is the sad state of the Hindu today. So educated Hindus are in fact worse than those who are illiterate. So we have to undertake Purva Paksha. We have to stimulate critical thinking and also enlighten the minds of those who are fully colonized and request them to start thinking clearly and make sure that the existing generation does not get swept away, because of so much atrocity literature generated by the apologists, the Christian apologists and the Islamic and Marxist apologists have generated so much atrocity literature, and the net result is entire generations have developed self-loathing, ashamed to be Hindus. That is why they don't eat Hindu food, they don't wear Hindu dresses, they don't wear a tilakam or bottu, they don't wear dhoti. They want to imitate Americans and become more American than the American themselves. Why does this happen? The answer is simple. You have no self-respect left and you are ashamed to be a Hindu, and that is why you are imitating. Does an American imitate the Hindu? No, because he is confident being an American. Does a Chinese try to imitate us? No. Does a Japanese try to imitate a German? No. Only we Hindus are doing this, because for 2000 years or at least 800 years, you see, the Mughals ruled and they mentally colonized us. See, mental colonization and cultural genocide. That is what they have achieved. Cultural genocide is a serious crime. The United Nations has accepted that cultural genocide should be treated as a very serious crime. Cultural genocide simply means undermining the culture. You see, Bollywood basically aims at Islamizing the whole of our society, which they have achieved to a very large extent. Stupid Hindus go to dargahs, offer chaddars, even celebrities are doing that, which simply means that these people are complete ignoramuses. They have no knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedas, and they have no intellectual courage to question these stupid beliefs. Why should you worship a tomb or the bones, and of whom? A person who subscribed to a predatory proselytizing religion, how can he be a saint in the first place? If at all you still accept the word saint, then it's not possible. So promoting Sanatan Dharma is point number one, and I will subtly undermine desert cult dogmas. But sometimes, if opportunity provides its which situation is conducive, then I will attack outright. But as a Hindu, I am always apprehensive of being dragged to the courts, and section 295A, 153A, all kinds of draconian IPC sections are there which are non-bailable. So this is a constant risk as a Hindu, that sword of Damocles is hanging on our heads. While they ridicule us, they make movies in all the Bollywood movies. In fact, those that we enjoyed also, we enjoyed because we have become inured to it. INURED. Inured means Modubari Podam. Inured means getting habituated to something bad against which actually you should protest. But we have got used to it. So this is the effect of Bollywood Islamization, creeping Islamization. So we should get out of this cocoon. We should refuse to be refuse to be tolerant towards this kind of intolerance. Whereas what happened to Nupur Sharma is very clear. She said nothing which can be considered even remotely offensive. Of course, her facial expression was showing annoyance, and she just said what was there in their holy books, but for nearly so many years she had to go underground. So it is a pity. Well, we don't have the courage, we don't have the freedom to question, but they can abuse us. What kind of nonsense, what kind of a polity is this? Next, promoting Sanatana Dharma also includes explanation of Purushartha, the 4 Purusharthas, goals, and also clarity about why we should become rich. I dare say that Hindus should also start looting, in the sense wherever possible start earning, because they have been looting and they still are looting. Because if we don't loot, they will loot anyway, and if a criminal and a dacoit and a terrorist loots, then that money will be invested in terror activities, whereas we Hindus understand dharma and karma. So if a Hindu, not literally looting, if he can make money in any way, because they are making by hook or crook. The Waqf board, the church occupies so much land. How? When they are a minority, why do they need so much land? See, they are funded from outside. They are not a minority. They are the extension of the majority, world majority. Christianity and Islam are the 2 big religions. So they are like a multinational corporation with a local office set up in India. They cannot be called minorities by any stretch of imagination, and they are so rich. So when these are the ground realities, we should declare a Hindu Rashtra, and Hindu temples should be handed over to Hindu gurus, who of course can be supervised and observed by other panels. So all this can be done. This has to be done. Otherwise, people like me, I can teach Bhagavad Gita at any level, but I will perhaps never get an opportunity unless this becomes a Hindu Rashtra, unless Bhagavad Gita is declared the national book. So explaining Purushartha and explaining about Jati, Kula, Varna, Gotra, that I will come to later. So Sukhasya Moolam Dharmam, Dharmasya Moolam Artha, Arthasya Moolam Rajyam. So we must have 500 seats in the parliament. If you give Modi ji 400 plus, I think 407 or something, then he does not need any support from the opposition. Then he can go ahead and make the changes which are essential, so that this Hindu culture can be preserved. Otherwise we will be finished. And though we have fought back, we are being continuously assaulted, and if this continues, this Islamization, this Christianization, Abrahamization, and this woke culture, wokeism, and whataboutery and all this crap is going on. So a few generations down the line, I don't think Hinduism will survive at this rate. See, in olden days, kings, the invaders used the sword and guns, but now the laws are being used against us, which is, I think, more dangerous. So, arthasya moolam rajyam, rajyasya moolam indriyanam vijaya, indriya vijayasya moolam Gita pathanam. I have not added that. That is my last one. So, how to conquer your indriyas? You must study Bhagavad Gita and be immersed in Krishna consciousness and be an agent of Krishna. Then next thing is, my mission is to enlighten people about the concept of the moral compass or the Antaratma, Dvasuparna. Krishna resides in our heart. You don't need any holy books. Your heart is the holiest of all holy books, unless of course it is not indoctrinated. If you are indoctrinated from childhood in some stupid dangerous dogmas, then you are a dangerous animal. But Hinduism does not indoctrinate. Hinduism educates. So we have to develop the moral compass and also critical thinking skills. That is what I hope to do using lectures and discussions on moral dilemmas. So there are many means by which we must reignite, enlighten and nourish the moral compass. Then the next important part of my mission is to enlighten all Hindus on the concepts of Jati, Kula, Varna, Gotra, which are all scientific. Jati is the family tree, Kula is the family profession, Varna is the temperament, psychological temperament, and Gotra is the descent from a common male ancestor. Therefore, you should not marry your cousins, first cousins or sister. In the Bible, Abraham declared that he married Sarah, who is his sister, except that Sarah's mother was different, but Abraham's father and Sarah's father are the same. So Abraham is openly declaring that he has married his own sister, stepsister. Now that is also dangerous. Recessive genes will get together and the offspring will be born with all kinds of diseases, like you have Down syndrome and other dangerous diseases because the recessive genes will get together. So ours is based on eugenics, EUGENICS, which means science of selective breeding to improve the quality of the race, whereas unfortunately theirs is based on dysgenics, bad breeding. So we must be in Hinduism, we don't have the concept of caste. Caste is a word which is alien to Hinduism. It is actually a Portuguese word which means a class, economic class. So we must eliminate this caste based hubris or arrogance. So that is essential. Whereas first of all, caste doesn't exist, and this arrogance, Kula based arrogance, is also extremely dangerous. It is undermining the unity of Hindu society. So this is a big task. And then the last one is exposing all evil relentlessly. If you find anything that is not conducive to the welfare of society, the immediate society or world society, it should be ridiculed, satirized, exposed, and people should be educated on it. But here we must know that there are certain nuances. Spirituality. Now spirituality is something which does not harm anybody. The meaning of the word spiritual is search for self-knowledge. So Hinduism is the only religion which is suffused with spirituality. Don't use this word to describe Islam or Christianity. There is no spirituality in those religions. Those religions are based on dogmas. So we should never hesitate to expose all evil. Even within Hinduism, there is a lot of evil, because this evil is because of imitation of the Abrahamic cults. We have mistakenly accepted certain practices and thoughts and ideas without critically examining them, and as a result we are suffering today. And my Nom the Gur or war name is Ramakarya Dhurandhar, which is a name which Hanumanji used to describe himself, and it simply means one who is competent to carry out Rama's order, Rama's task. So I consider myself competent to carry out Rama's task, and with the anugraham of Sri Rama and Hanuman, I am launching myself on this mission, promoting Sanatana Dharma vigorously, enlightening, nourishing the moral compass, explaining concepts such as Jati, Kula, Varna, Gotra, and exposing all evil relentlessly. And of course other things can all be added here, and if you have some suggestions, I will be very glad to include that in my mission. Jai Shri Ram.